Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Knitting Traditions podcast. My name is Inga and this is Pia, my soon-to-be 15-year-old dog. And this is a podcast mainly about knitting. You can find me on Ravelry as Knitting Tradition and on Instagram as Knitting Traditions, which is where I'm the most active, and I'll put links to everything in the description box below. It should be next to the title of the video, a little arrow down on most devices, and that will be a sort of a show notes kind of information, at least patterns and designers that I talk about. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. We've reached over 8,000 subscribers, which is incredible. So thank you so much. It means a lot when you subscribe to my videos because it reaches more people and I just love interacting with all of you. And if you're a new viewer, hello! I hope that you will enjoy this episode. It's been 2 weeks since the last episode. Usually I record weekly, but I live on the west coast of Norway in a little village and it's dark outside. Luckily, my brother kindly let me borrow his studio light, so now we can record even though it's dark outside. I think you can still see the knitwear and the yarn pretty well, even though it's not natural lighting, which is the best, but we'll make do for a few episodes at least. And I live here on the west coast in a little place where I'm now working as a family doctor for 6 months, and in February I'm going to be moving again because I got a new job. Yes, exciting news. I actually got 2 job offers. I need to start my specialization to become a specialist, and the 2 offers that I got were between internal medicine and pediatrics. And internal medicine I've worked in before. I do think I gravitate more towards practical work, like surgical kinds of things, but I'm gonna give pediatrics a chance. It's a 1 year, what's it called? It's not a permanent position because in the Norwegian healthcare system, those are not that easy to get by. So you usually start out with like 6 months or a year of working there, and then they prolong that. Is there a name for that? We call it vicariat. So I'm basically filling the position of another doctor who is going to another hospital. And sometimes if people are pregnant or sick, that also opens up slots. And usually it's not a problem to continue after your period ends to get a new one. So I'm going to be doing 1 year of pediatrics and I think it's going to be great. A lot of shifts, a lot of new things to learn. I do hope I get to work a lot with the babies, the premature babies especially, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. And lots of knitting time on my days off. So that was a little life update. It's been 2 weeks. I'll talk more about that in a little sit and knit with me section after I've shown you what I'm wearing, what I'm working on, and what I've finished. And I'm sorry if I don't look straight in the camera. I'm trying to get better at it. So, what I'm wearing. This has been a whip of mine since episode, 6 or something. This is a mohair sweater by Mohair. She sells this yarn, which is a South African yarn. It's called African Expressions Love, and it's a mix of wool, mohair, and a little bit of nylon. And it's one of the thickest mohair yarns that I've worked with. Sorry. And she sells her patterns with the yarn in kits in her store, moharia.no, but I bought it from her at a knitting festival just a little hour away from here a few weeks ago. I actually bought 2 kits. This is the original colors, and then I picked out some colors which are more greens and browns, more autumnal. But this is the one that I finished for now, and I don't know if I'll knit the next one before Christmas because there was a lot of ends to weave in when I was done. But I'm really happy with the result. It used seven balls of yarn, 2 white and 2 black, and then one of the other colors. So that will be blue, beige, gold, and brown. Yes, so 4 of those colors, and then black and white as well. And it also used an effect yarn to pair with the golden thread, so you can see that it kind of shines a bit. It's really warm. I'm sweating. This is sort of a cropped sweater, and the arms are also slightly short, but I have super long arms. But I like this because this means I can wear my watch, which tends to attach itself to my garments a little bit because I have like a chained band. So it does attach itself to yarny sweaters, which have like mohair strands and such. So this is a good length. And it's knit in the round on 7mm needles, bottom up, and then this part in the back is knit back and forth. So you do have to purl a little bit with the color work. Not a fan of purling with color work, but since it was on such large needles, you didn't have to do it for that many rows, so it was okay. And then I was contemplating picking up the stitches and knitting downwards, but I knew from looking at the photo that I wasn't sure how long I would want to knit the arms. So I did as the pattern said and knit from the bottom up, and then you just knit the white section until it was long enough. But then again, I was worried that I wouldn't have enough yarn for this arm, so I didn't make it full length. I did it the same length as the pattern said, to have it like, what's it called when you have like cuff length? When you can, I don't know. But it turned out that I had plenty of yarn left, so I could have made it much longer. And I was actually contemplating doing this report here, to like make it longer and then have this section on the arm as well, because I really do like this golden section on the sweater part. So maybe I'll do that for the other one that I bought yarn for, if I get around to it. I was thinking about giving this to my mother, just because I'm not really a fan of the blue, but I do think that the blue really looks nice in this design because it complements the orangey gold and makes that pop even more. So I like it, and it's gonna be really nice to wear outside now that it's snowing. I hope that technology is on my side this episode so that I can put some footage at the end of the video. So here's to hoping. Anything more I can say about this? It's not itchy. It's super thick, being a thicker mohair yarn. I would say that it's chunky. So it's just like a warm hug, and maybe more suitable for outdoors and winter. But it could easily be used instead of wearing a winter coat. I could be wearing this sweater, as long as I also have something warm underneath, because with it being larger stitches, the wind would blow through. So maybe pair it with a cowl or a scarf or something. That would be really nice. I have 2 other finished objects, but one of them I have already wrapped and sent because it's a Christmas gift. So I will put a photo here and cross my fingers that the person receiving it is not watching this episode before Christmas. I don't think she is, so we should be good. I can show you the yarn. This is Finull by Rauma. I have the band on another color that I bought. Yes. So this is Rauma Finull. It's 100% Norwegian wool. They have so many gorgeous colors. It's non-superwash, of course. I do love my Rustics. It has, this is a 50-gram ball, so it has 175 meters, so 100 grams would be 350. And they recommend a gauge of 24 to 26 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. And that would be using a guiding size of the needle would be 2.5 to 3.5 millimeters. So really nice. I did buy this additional skein and this one 2 weeks ago, just because I wanted to have some more brown tones for gifts if I get around to it before Christmas. And I also bought another one of the green because I want to use it not only in a cowl but also in mittens, and I couldn't decide, so I got another one. Buying it in the store in Norway is quite affordable. It's less than $5. I think it's like $4. I know that you can get this in most countries online, and I think, yeah, in the US it would be $9 at Woolly Thistle, but great yarn, and even at that price it's affordable and great for color work. And yeah, so these are the colors that I made this cowl in, and this these are not my colors. They're blue. This is like a minty one, and I can appreciate a mint. I can. I don't love like these kind of blues. For some reason, for me, colors have moods for me. Like I see gold, orange, and brown, and that gives me like a warm, cozy, safe feeling, like a content, happy feeling. I see blues, that gives me a cold, depression kind of sense. And it's been this way since I was a little kid. I never liked blues. I was like, no, blue is sad. Red is happy. So I've always liked the warmer tones. But the person that I was knitting for, I know that she likes these kinds of colors. At least I hope she still does. So I made this cowl, which is called the Selbu cowl, and it's my own pattern. So sorry. But I knit this up because I got a lot of good feedback on the podcast here. So I decided to make a pattern, and for the gift I used the darker for the edging and the color work, and then the mint one for the background. I didn't get to take a photo of it in daylight because I have not seen daylight for 2 weeks because I've been at work in those few hours of the day where it's sunny or not dark. But yeah, I think it turned out well. I was a bit unsure at the beginning because as I was combining the two colors just in those few first rows, the mint color looked gray. I think that's because the Rauma finull is colored, these heathered ones are colored not on completely white wool. I think it has a little bit of gray in it. So it looked gray, but in the end, when I had a lot more of the mint in the background, it turned out well. It didn't look gray anymore. It looked like I was imagining it to look. This is knit on 3mm needles in the round. You have a twisted border at the beginning and edge, and the pattern is made so that they will have the same length. It's a one size, so if you want it smaller than this, you would have to either go down in the needle size to have a tighter gauge, because this gauge is 26, or you could felt it. This size fits most adults. These are my colors, the warm ones. I would say that with the color work you can felt it a little bit. That would make it more windproof. But you need to use 100% wool yarn in order to do that, and it will also be really nice and warm. If you want to felt it down to a very small size, the pattern might disappear a little bit. And I did include a link in the pattern on how to felt it. But there's also so much online that you can find. Just go on YouTube. So many people who are so much better than me at explaining things. And this is another finished object. This is a gift, but I know for sure that the person receiving this is not watching this episode. It's for my uncle. Some people are just really difficult to figure out what to give for Christmas. Like for my cousin and aunt and my mother and my brothers, no problem. For my father, no idea. And for my uncle, I have 9 aunts and uncles, and I'm only gifting one of them because I rent the apartment below them, so I do spend a lot of time with them. I've always spent a lot of time with them, so yeah, I just wanted to give a little Christmas gift to show my appreciation for our family bond. And I figured he rides his bike to work every day, and he also spends a lot of time in the forest. So I wanted to make him a cowl. So I used the Selbu cowl pattern, this one, and I made it the exact same way. I just didn't knit the color work. I just did it plain because I really wanted to felt it down afterwards, and I'm not done. This is just a little bit of felting that I have done by hand in the sink, and I just rubbed it like this, friction everywhere, you know, just rub, rub, rub. And it did make it a little bit more windproof, a lot softer than it was before. And I think this will just be really nice and warm for him to wear. And I hope that he will like it. It's a nice, basic, neutral one. And I know that he does really appreciate knitwear. He was gifted some socks from a neighbor that he has worn holes into. And he has a sweater that my aunt made from the 80s or 90s that he wears all the time. So I hope that he will like this one as well. And I might make more of these for my brothers, but I think they would also really like the patterning, so maybe I'll make ones with pattern for them. And I don't know, I think that I'm quite a fast knitter or obsessive knitter. It depends what category you want to put me in, but I do spend a lot of, or all of my free time knitting. So I think for me, the second time around doing the colorwork cowl, the Selbu cowl, it took me 2 days to finish it from start to end. But then again, I'm a crazy person. You don't want to be like me. Not really. And this is the yarn that I used for the plain one. This is also Rauma finull, but it's on a cone. I don't think they sell it on cones online. I got this from their factory, which I went to this summer. And I bought 3 of this because I want to make a warm woolly blanket. I think it's about 900 grams on this one. And I just knitted on some circular needles. I think it's like 60 centimeters because that goes all the way around and it gives a nice stretch on the color work to make it nice and even. This was the last thing I bought before breaking both my arms. After going hiking, we were at the parking lot and I had on hiking boots, you know, the ones that has like little hooks on the sides. And I think what happened is, well, first of all, I had a tent on my back, so I was walking like this. And I think I also had a bag in my other arm. And I think I stepped on my shoelace and then I tried to throw my other foot in front of me to kind of catch myself from falling. But what happened is when I did that, the hook on the shoe catched the loop on the shoelace on the other shoe and it just stuck mid-air and I flew and I landed on my elbows on the, not concrete, but the asphalt, didn't I just say this? On the ground, very hard ground. And I felt my elbow joint moving. And I was like, oh no. Oh, no. And I was just lying on the ground crying like a baby. But just trying to think to myself, no, it's not broken. It's not broken. It's just, I probably just hit myself, you know, like when you hit the wall with your toe or something and it's super painful, but then it passes. But it didn't pass. Luckily, I was with my boyfriend who is 6 months away from becoming a doctor himself. My cousin who is both a nurse, pediatric nurse and a school nurse, and another friend who also works in healthcare. So they kindly drove me to the doctor's office and sorry about this little story, back to knitting soon. And it turned out that I had broken both my elbows, the caput radi bone. And this one was just broken, it hadn't dislocated. This one was a terrible triad. It had dislocated and the head of the bone had been broken into 5 pieces and one of the pieces had moved to the other side of the joint. Yeah, I had 2 thoughts. 1, I'm not ever going to be able to be a surgeon. 2, I hope I can knit again. And I actually told the orthopedic surgeons, like, there's 2 things that matter to me. I need to be able to work and I need to be able to knit. Can I please be able to do that? And I had to have surgery. At the time, I was working as a doctor in the orthopedic ward myself. Luckily, they did not send me to my hospital to get the surgery done. I think that would have been a little bit weird, being treated by my colleagues. So they actually had to send me to a university hospital for a specialist because they told me that I needed to get a prosthesis. And I begged them not to because usually those prostheses that you have here, you have to take them out after 3 years because they don't work anymore. And then you have to live without that part of your bone. And no thank you. But I was really lucky. They managed to just screw the pieces together. See, beautiful little scar right here. And so I have 5 screws, and as soon as I woke up from surgery, I was just moving my hands like, this needs to work. So I was lying there all night just stretching and doing my own physiotherapy. And 2 days later, I was knitting. Yeah. I got back to what I love the most, and I was content. And I think honestly, knitting is what motivated me and got me to recover so fast. Usually after the surgery, you're on a sick leave for 2 months or so. I was back at work after 1 week, and I would say I'm 95% normal now. So I've been blessed, and knitting is great physiotherapy and motivation. At least it was for me. Okay, yeah, so those are the finished objects. I also have a hoe in this beautiful bag from the Urban Stitcher. It's like a nice flannel. This is called flannel. Like, it's the kind of material that our grandpa's pants used to be, like this stripy, velvety thing. I think it's called flannel. And a canvas. And inside, I have a pair, or half a pair of socks. Oh, I should have brought my sock blocker to show you, but this will do. This sock will fit me with my small feet. I used leftovers for this sock. This is my Regia premium merino yak sock yarn. I kept half of the old ball band. I love this yarn. I made the Into the Wood socks by Melody Hoffman using this yarn, and I had enough left to use it for cuff, heel and toes for another pair. So I made this pattern myself, 64 stitches, knit top down, and I just switched the colors when I had done the cuff and when I started the heel and when I got to the toe. And this is the kind of heel that my grandma taught me to make. It fits nicely, and you can make it bigger by increasing more stitches in the beginning here. And then you pick up stitches all the way around here when you're done with the heel. And you do decreases on the side here. So it is similar to the heel flap and gusset, but it doesn't really have the gusset. It also has some different elements by decreases here and increases here. And the yarn that I am using for the main body is arwetta by Filcolana, which I used for a hat by Petite Knit. This is, let's see, I have 2 left actually from that project, or 1.5. I've already knitted 1 sock and started the other, and it doesn't even look like I've used any of it almost. But, so I can probably make 2 pairs of this one. And this is Filcolana Arwetta Classic. It's 80% superwash merino wool and 20% nylon. I really do want to try making some socks that are non-superwash and then using mohair to make it stronger, because I do wear knitted socks all the time. So for me, they need to be sturdy so that they don't get holes in them. And usually my socks don't get holes in them, but I haven't tried using a completely non-superwash nylon-free wool yet. So that's on my to-do list, and somebody tipped me about using silk mohair to make it stronger. So I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. Get my hands on some of that. So yeah, no, I'm really, really happy with how these are turning out. Great scrap project for finishing up what I have. And I think this would also be good for doing stripes if you have like random colors that you want to use up. And these two are not even the same thickness. I think this one is slightly thicker, but I just like the effect of that because that gives a more cushion on the heel and a more sturdy toe, and it makes the cuff and the leg like unison, like it's the same width. Usually if this would have been the same thickness, then this would kind of cinch in and it would look more like this. So no, aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, that was a half-finished object, and this is annoying me a lot. I cut my own hair today. I don't know if you can see. I tried to like trim my side bangs a little bit, but it's on the video now. It looks a little bit like yeah, unprofessional, which it is. I just don't like spending money on simple things like trimming my hair. But it will grow out again and it will look less rat-like. And I have another whip that I've been working on. This one. But first I'll have a sip of my almost cold homemade cappuccino. I made my own blend. I put the recipe in the description of one of the previous videos, but it's a cup of hot chocolate powder, like the instant one, and a cup of vanilla powdered sugar, or powdered vanilla sugar, yeah. And then you add cinnamon and nutmeg, and I think it says like 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and half of nutmeg, but I use a lot more of both to get a lot more flavor, and it almost smells like Christmas with the nutmeg. Oh, and yes, I made a decoration. I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of makers have been knitting fairy lights up and made like a beautiful fairy light knitted piece that they hang on the needles. I know that Dunderknit did this, and the Crimson Stitcher, I'll put her name below, another great podcast. But I bought fairy lights that were way too short. Like, this is all that I had on these fairy lights, so I couldn't really knit anything with them. So what I did is I just wrapped it around my needles, and voila, I have wrapped needles with fairy lights. I don't know, it's not the same, but I think it's still cute. And also I could just have these standing. I don't need to hang them up anywhere because I don't really want to make any holes or put tape or anything on the walls in this apartment, since I'm only renting it for 2 more months. So I'm happy with this. Yes, speaking of this apartment, I have finished the body of Mellomtrya, which is a sweater that I am making for my landlady. And this is knit in Hillesvåg Tinde, my favorite yarn, in the color Cognac. And it's also my favorite sweater pattern. I think I've made 3 sweaters, 1 jacket, and 1 t-shirt version of this pattern. And the designer, Drople Design, she got back to me and she is working on getting this translated into English. So I will let you know when that has happened, because as of yet it's only in Norwegian. I did get some lovely comments from some of you that you have actually knitted this, even though you don't speak Norwegian, using Google Translate. And I don't know how that worked, but apparently it did. For me, Google Translate is a bit iffy. I don't know if I can always trust it, but if it worked for somebody, that's great. This is knit top down with a sweet little rolled hem, and I think I'll put a little leather tag here so that it's easy to see what is the front and what's the back. And it's a raglan design, and I have a cute little wooden sock by Strickzilla, and that's where I was the last time that I podcasted. Since then, I finished the body and I finished one sleeve, and the purpose of this is that you can knit it longer and then fold it up like a nice little cuff at the edge of the arm. So usually I don't fold it up on me, I just have it like scrunched, but this is how it's supposed to be, I guess. But it works both ways. You can have it like this as well. It will have the rolled hem as well. And I started the second sleeve doing some decreases as I go. And this is my preferred way of doing arms. It's a 9 or 12 inch circular, I'm not sure, but it's a good size for arm knitting. I knit in the round, it goes really fast. I don't have to pull any magic loop cords. I don't need to change my needle if you do the DPNs. So for me, this is the fastest. The first time I used them, it was a bit of an adjustment because since it's shorter, you can't knit holding them all the way to the side. You need to hold a little bit more like this as you knit. So that was a bit of an adjustment for my hands because I wasn't used to holding it like this. I was more used to knitting like this. But I must say it got a lot better. And also this is more ergonomical. My shoulders are more relaxed this way compared to holding my elbows out. So I do recommend trying it if you haven't tried it. And I also have this is 4 millimeters, and I also have 3 millimeters, which I use when I bind off at the end. So yes, I don't know the label of this. It's it's needles from, oh, can you see? It's needles from Sandnesgarn, which is a Norwegian yarn company. They have lots of beautiful yarns, and they also sell needles. And I like them for arms, but I do prefer my interchangeable sets. Oh, and yes, this is the lovely large tote bag from the Urban Stitcher, and it fits so much. So this is the Tinde yarn that I have left. I think it should be enough for making the arms. The thing with this sweater is that I'm making the size small, and that uses exactly 3 skeins of the Hillesvåg Tinde. So every time I make it, I do a little bit of yarn chicken because I want the arms to be exactly the same length. So usually I do the arms at the same time at the end to make sure that I use up all the yarn because I do have longer arms. But this time it's not for me. I don't think my landlady has as long arms as me, so I'm knitting it exactly as the pattern says. So it should be fine. Because usually I just use up everything because I don't want to have leftovers. And in addition to this project, I'm also keeping my vertices Unite in here because it's been really cold lately, so I've been wearing this a lot. The only thing about this shawl, I love the colors. The colors are perfect. I'm so happy with them. But I think I'm gonna be making another one in either Rauma finull or some hillesvåg, or maybe I'll try some tuku wool. It's a Finnish brand that I've never tried, but something that is non-superwash, because this is not warm the way that non-superwash is. I feel like when I put this on, it gives me heat. When I put this on, it's cool. It's warmer than cotton, but it doesn't give me heat the same way that non-superwash wools does. It has like that plastic coating feel to it, and it's just not as warm, and it's already -degrees outside, and I need warmth. I need something to give me warmth as I'm freezing and getting frostbites. And I've been using the Licky needles for the first time on the body of the sweater, and I really like them. One thing, they're super pretty, and I like the wood of it all and how every needle is different. And I think it'll get even more slick the more I use them, but it's like a nice mix between metal and bamboo. It's slicker than bamboo, I think. So, I mean, there are different needles for different purposes, but so far, so good. And yes, that is all that I have been knitting. I did get a lovely present in the mail from Beautiful Knitters, which is a beautiful yarn store in London in the UK. It's one of the last places that I visited before the whole lockdown situation, and she had just started the store then. And what she does is that she has this vision, I think, of filling the yarn store with different like indie makers and smaller companies, you know, rooting on smaller makers and not the big brands like Drops and Knit Picks and all these big commercial companies, which I think is a really nice idea. And it also means that her store is beautiful. Everything that she sells has had a lot of thought gone into it. And I did buy a lot of yarn when I was there, as well as one of her bags. And she kindly sent me this one with is this a llama or an alpaca? I'm not sure what the difference is between llama and alpaca. I think it's an alpaca. I think so. It's really cute. And she also kindly sent me two balls of a yarn that she carries that I was Googling the last time when I was in her store in real life. And this is a cashmere yarn. It's a 100% natural cashmere from Cardiff, which is the company. And it's 112 meters per 25 grams. And it's like a chain yarn, if you can see that. It's chained. And it's so soft. Like you can't even imagine. It's like, oh, the softest thing ever. And she has also made, I think it's her that made it. It's a cowl called Hide and Peak. I'll try and show you without showing the pattern. Let's see if I can like sneak it up here. That's the cowl. And I just imagine that being so soft on the neck. So thank you so much for sending this my way. And I do recommend you go check her out. I follow her on Instagram because she does this sweet thing of showcasing knitters from around the world. So she has like different posts from different knitters with information about them, like where they live in the world, what their favorite yarn is, and like what they like to knit and these kind of things. So it's a great way of seeing other makers from other places, and it's a great idea. And I was actually showcased on there after I went to her store, so that was a great honor. And that was before I even started with this whole podcasting thing. So yes. And if technology is on my side this time, I will try and post some photos at the end from the Rustic knit-along, because we are doing a Rustic knit-along on the podcast. I initially said that it was going to run until the end of January, but I think I'm going to prolong it until the end of February, because I don't know about you guys, do you feel pressure to knit Christmas gifts? I generally don't plan on knitting Christmas gifts, but then as soon as December sneaks up, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to buy or give to this and this person. Oh, I could just knit that would be perfect. And then I'm like speed knitting and stressing and trying to finish this gift that I wasn't even supposed to make. So I think I will postpone the deadline, or like the end of the knit along, until the end of February, so that we have a good 2 months after Christmas to just enjoy our rustic yarns and just feel the warmth on our needles in those cold winter months. And the Urban Stitcher kindly gifted this gorgeous tote box with a pocket on the front and the back and these handles. And inside she has 3 separate pockets, large inside. And I am also donating 2 balls, these 2 balls of Rauma finull, together with my pattern for the Selbu cowl. And this is the exact same that will give you this version right here. And the giveaway will be drawn from a finished thread on Ravelry, just because that was the way that I figured out how to do it. So this giveaway will be, no, not this giveaway, but this prize for the Rustic knit-along will be drawn from there. But this knit-along is not about winning. I do hope that you will participate, even though you don't use Ravelry. I will be drawing prizes on Instagram in the next giveaway, so that chance will come, and I will also probably do another one on YouTube here. For those of you who don't have Instagram, just so that everyone can be included and have the possibility to win something every now and then. So in order, this knit along, in order to be eligible to win it, you have to knit something big, something small, that's up to you, using non-superwash yarn that does not contain plastics like acrylic, nylon, polyester, viscose, which is somewhere in between plant and artificial. So you can use wool, alpaca, yak, mohair, merino, all those kinds of things. And I'm also letting people use plant fibers like bamboo, linen, nettle, did I forget something? Yeah, plant fibers. As long as they're not overly processed with superwash and different kinds of plastics. So it's a very broad term, and whips are allowed as long as they're not like 2 rows away from finishing. And the purpose of this is just to get people to get a little bit out of their comfort zone, try some lovely woolen rustic yarns if they never have tried it, or if you have tried it, just to make something more. And there's some different threads on Ravelry for those who use it. I made one with yarn suggestions that has different both indie dyers that use non-superwash and commercial yarns and links. So that's a great place to get inspiration. There's also a chatter thread with a lot of gorgeous projects and people. And you know what? I'm gonna knit with you. So there's beautiful projects and inspirations. My favorite is the hashtag on Instagram. If you use the hashtag Rustic knitalong, then I will most definitely see what you're making. You don't win that way, but you share in the rustic yarn love. And I will also, that's also where I will find photos to put at the end of the YouTube video, as long as you're not opposed to that. It's just much easier, I think, using YouTube as a platform. And what was he saying? Yeah, so on Ravelry there is a finished thread, which is no chatter. That's where I draw the price from. There's the chatter just to talk. There's the hashtag on Instagram. And yeah, I do hope that you will make something rustic for yourself or for someone else. I personally love the properties of it, and I know that some people are scared of of it felting as they wash it. I don't think I've ever felted anything except once, and that was my own fault. I knew that I was taking a big risk. Because you can put your wool in extremely hot water and it's not gonna felt. But if you put it in hot water and you move it around, then it might felt. Also, if you use the wrong soap that's not meant for wool, and with the friction, that can felt it. But most washing machines these days, the newer ones at least, have really good wool washing programs that are even more delicate on your wools than doing it by hand. So I've never felted anything by doing it that way. And also, if you knit something in 100% wool, you don't really have to wash it that often because it's naturally repellent to dirt and odors. So you can just hang it up to air dry and it'll be fine, usually. But I do wash them like maybe once or twice a year if I've used them a lot or if they have stains on them. Yeah, so the last 2 weeks, I was not home either of the weekends really, so I didn't catch any daylight. Last week my boyfriend was here for 1 week, and we decorated for Christmas, and we made some gingerbread cookies, and we just spent a lot of time together. Or I had 3 25-hour shifts and 2 normal shifts within those 5 days, so we didn't have that much time, but we had some quality time, the time that we had, and we made some good dinner. He made most of them because I was at work, and then I drove him to the airport this weekend, and my parents live 10 minutes away from the airport, so I also got to spend a little bit of time there before driving home alone today over the mountain, which was a bit scary because you couldn't really see anything. It was snow everywhere, and also it was snow on the road, so it was completely white. So luckily we have these little sticks in the ground on each side of the road with a little bit of a reflective material, so you can kind of see how the road winds using those sticks for guidance. And also it was blowing a lot with the wind, so there was like you couldn't really see the shapes of the snow. Everything was just a blurry white and slippery. But I was careful and I managed to drive down safely. No near-death accidents. Didn't drive off the road or anything, which I was a bit worried about. I don't have the most modern car. It's I'm gonna turn it in for scraps in a few months because it's not gonna pass the EU test. But it works fine. It gets me from A to B, and I guess now that I have gotten a new job, I can afford to get myself a newer, safer car, which I'm really looking forward to. But then again, I also really want to be able to buy a place to live eventually, so we'll see what kind of loans the bank will give me. But I think everything will work itself out. So how are you guys doing? I hope that you're having a great first Sunday of Advent. I don't know. Yeah, that's today. Norway is a Protestant Christian country by religion, but I don't think that the Norwegian population is very religious. It's more kind of you're baptized, you have your confirmation, you might get married in the church, but most people don't go to church here. But there is a lot more tradition around Christmas, which I think is the biggest holiday in Norway. For a lot of people, even though they're not Christian, it's still just they still celebrate Christmas here. We don't call it Christmas in Norwegian, we call it jul. So it doesn't have that religious tone to it in the same way. It's a lot about coziness and hygge, which I know that a lot of people have heard about in the last year, but it's this feeling of warmth and happiness and content and cozy, and it can be decorations, smells, food, family and friends around you, traditions in the home. Like for me, Christmas is red colors, gold colors, green colors, little we call it a nisse, julenisse, which is like a Christmas it's not Santa Claus, but they usually have a hat and a beard, so like a Christmas goblin kind of thing. So we decorate the house with those. We have like stars in the windows with lights to kind of brighten up the darkness, and we bake cookies, Christmas cookies, listen to music, spend time with family. For us, the 24th of December is the big day, where we eat a lot of good food and open presents in the evening. And usually we watch super old movies, nostalgic Christmas movies on the 24th in the beginning of the day and all of December, which is really weird. Like, sorry, I'm eating my wool fibers again. The 23rd in the evening, there is this old play that plays on TV. It's in black and white. It's a 2-person play about, I think it's New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, and this lady has imaginary friends around the table, and her servant has to pretend to be each one of these characters and toast with her for each and every one around the table for every meal. And basically he gets really drunk and he stumbles and people laugh. And we watch this same clip every year, and like people will fight in their homes if they don't get to watch this because it's tradition and it's hygge and kos, and yeah, it needs to happen to get that feeling inside. Yeah, so this year my family is coming here because I am going to be working, not on Christmas Eve, but in the days between Christmas and New Year's Eve. So they will be coming here, and I think it's gonna be really nice. Different, but nice. And then hopefully next year the world is normal again and everyone is happy and content, and all of you get to celebrate Christmas the way that you want to celebrate Christmas, with loved ones around you. It's gonna be a weird year, but I hope that you have a lovely holiday, and even if you don't celebrate Christmas, that you just have a beautiful December with the people you love, and that you get a lot of knitting done. I know that I will. I have lots of projects that I'm looking forward to casting on, and I can't wait to show you. Once I finished a few gift knits, I will have something new on the needles, and I'm really excited about that. I'm not completely sure what it will be yet, but I'm gonna get it on the needles. Ooh, that reminds me, I did receive 2 patterns. This is 2 crochet patterns actually by Granny Knit. It's the Angie bunny. I don't know if you can see this. The Angie bunny and the Chunky Benji the bear. So she kindly sent this to me, and I think I'm gonna try to make this once I have a little bit more time, and I will ask her if she will be willing to give these patterns or one of them away in a giveaway for you guys, because I think that would be really cute, because I know not all of you are 100% knitters. Some of you are crocheters by heart, and I mean, I'm a knitter by heart, but I still like to crochet little cute animals. So I think she will be open for that. So that's something to look forward to. So that was all for today. I hope you had a lovely day, evening, morning, whatever the time is where you are. And I will hopefully see you again for the next episode. So if you'd like to see more, please subscribe below, leave a like if you liked the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye!